The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk. The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the alternative Digitalk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
We President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyanema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the alternative Digitalk etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugendo maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the alternative Digitalk. How are you beautiful Ugandans? It's your girl Digitalk. Welcome to the fancy floor. Who doesn't see my hair, guys? I am super glamorous. Remember, this is the only show where we're going to be talking about fashion.
Please, where are you think? Teaching.
What has been confusing you about fashion? Sorry, you said I should not smile. For all the information about fashion, maintenance of body shape.
I can wear bling bling when I'm going out. So you can wear bling bling going out or any occasion.
We shall be doing all this in the fancy floor. Remember, it airs every Thursday right from 8:30 to 9 with your girl Teddy Tenjo. It is the fancy floor.
The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
A very good evening, our viewers. I thank you for joining us this evening. It's time for the Hotline Show that runs every Monday. My name is Abdallah Tiff, and I want to welcome you to tonight's edition as we look into the issues to do with the effectiveness of political coalitions in Uganda. We all know that since independence, Uganda has had a number of coalitions and some sort of corporations to see how much they can closely work together and foster political progress in this country. However, when you try to read at the history, look at what transpired in the old times, it's like history seems to be repeating itself. Well, there are so many things that have been happening. If you all remember, the time when DP President Norbert Mao had to sign a memorandum of understanding, which they called cooperation agreement of political cooperation. That's between the Democratic Party and the National Resistance Movement. This kind of document has gone ahead to attract castigations from different political players, while others went in to defend, saying that maybe this is the way to go. This is a symbol of political maturity that was manifested by the two parties when they went into a cooperation, an agreement to work together. However, if you happen to look at what happened right from the very, very first sort of political coalition that we had in the country, and then, of course, there have been many things that transpired. A lot happened. There was some sort of hypocrisy. There was some sort of betrayals. And the biggest question remains, looking at the document that was signed between the Democratic Party and the National Resistance Movement, what would one expect? How best will this contribute to, building our internal democracy, our democracy as a country? What will it contribute to strengthening, political coexistence within our country, Uganda? For so many times, our politics has been so much built on hatred, and we believe maybe it's time to move on and see that we can coexist, much as the political players ideologically differ from one another. This does not necessarily mean that the two political players or the different political groupings, they have to be enemies to one another. If I happen to take you back, when Uganda attained her independence in 1962, we've had a number of coalitions. If you remember Uganda People's Congress and the Kabaka Yeka coalition, this many people, who, especially those who happened to witness for the very, very few Ugandans who are still alive, who are still breathing. They say much of such political groupings were more of, coalitions of convenience. They were totally different in ideologies. For instance, if you look at the UPC, the UPC came into force after, if you remember, during the colonial times, much of our economy was dominated by the Europeans and the Indians. If you look at the key sectors that drive the economy, such as banking, finance, such as export trade and all that, it was dominated by the Europeans. And then the trade industry was more occupied by the Indians. And so there was need to create some sort of social justice at the times. And these are some of the pillars that led to the establishment, to the formation of the Uganda People's Congress. But when you get to learn that there was some sort of a coalition between the Uganda People's Congress and then the Kabaka Yeka formation of the times, you would agree that there were any sort of similarity within their ideologies. The UPC was formed on the element of social justice, and then the Kabaka Yeka was more of, they were so much aligned to the monarchical sort of beliefs. And only this could really, for those who were able to read the future of such coalitions, it was so much easier for them to tell that the future for such coalitions won't be much lived. And indeed, it was so like that. And when you go ahead, there was after the Kabaka Yeka UPC coalition, it was again the same group, one of the the members of the coalitions that went ahead to force one of the members into the exile. And now the biggest question, if you try to relate to what happened during the times and what is happening today, do we have to draw a few things as a country? Do we draw some lessons from what happened during that time? Because at the end of all this, you remember the 1966 crisis, and you also remember how the Kabaka Mutesa, the Kabaka of Uganda, was forced into exile by the same group that they signed, that they went into a coalition with. But the core factors, the main reasons behind this coalition was actually not because there was some sort of ideological similarities. No, they were trying to see how do they fight and how do they get rid of what was happening at the time. So it was more of a coalition of convenience and not in reality that there may be some sort of ideological similarities. And then if you look at, there was another major coalition that was formed purposely to get rid of the Idi Amin regime. And this was in 1979. For those who were around, of course, all this is history. And for students of history, I am very much sure that you have such information. During the 1979, during the Idi Amin regime, there was the Uganda National Liberation Front. And this was the formation of 3 groups, which one was Chikosi Malum, and this was led by Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, alongside with Tito Okello and then Ohiti Ojok. And then there's also the FRONASA, Front for National Salvation, which was headed by Mr. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tim Habrua. And then Save Uganda Movement, led by Akena Pojok, and then William Omaria and Ateka Ejalu. So these were 3 political formations that merged together, and then they came up with the Uganda National Liberation Front. But still, their cooperation, their coalition, their sort of working together was not actually based on ideological similarities, ideological beliefs, but it was more of convenience at the time on how best can they get rid of the Idi Amin regime at the times. And I want to tell you that after a very short time, there was also elements of betrayal. There were elements of betrayal and then hypocrisy. Because during that time, just shortly after the overthrow of Idi Amin, the same group had to install President Lululume, who was in power for 68 days. And then after a very short while, members within the coalition partners again, they came, they took him away on the side. Then he was succeeded by Godfrey Binayisa, who was also deposed after 11 months in office. But it was basically the same groups. So we must revisit our history as a country. If we are to have successful political coalitions in Uganda, we must take very serious case scenarios from the previous sort of coalitions that we had as a country. If you look at the coalitions between the UNLF, that is the Uganda National Liberation Front, they shared no broad ideological or policy goals, and they were merely interested in taking office and the accompanying spoils in power. There was really nothing good, out of their coalition. And so that's why they ended up one overthrowing the other, like the same group, one overthrowing the other. And yet, you also remember in 1982, we also had another formation again that came up. I am trying to bring all this to bring you to bring you to a common understanding, to know what transpired in the country in the olden times. And then, of course, we've had these talks that the opposition, they have to unite, our opposition politicians, our different political groupings, they have to closely work together in that if they need to really get rid of the NRM that has been in leadership for close to 40 years. But if we preach corporations, political corporations, you need to revisit the history. For the political formations that we've had as a country in the olden times, what have they been able to achieve? Well, on this show, I am expecting Honorable Bayigga Lulume Bayigga from the Democratic Party, and then the deputy spokesperson of the Democratic Party. I am expecting them to join us anytime soon from now. And I maybe they've been held a little bit because of traffic, and maybe, I don't know, but we're expecting them to join us anytime from now. Now, back to the issue of our political formations. In 1982, we had the Popular Resistance Army. This Popular Resistance Army was headed by Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at the times. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni had to closely work with a former president, that is Yusuf Lure, on how they can team up, because these were 2 political formations that were struggling day and night to see that they end the regime of that at the time. So when they teamed up together, that's when they came up with the National Resistance Movement. The Yusuf Lure and the Popular Resistance Army, they were all in the bush trying to see how do they get rid of the Obote government. And so, but when you look at the 2 factions at the time, they did not have any sort of ideological similarities, but their coalitions was based on convenience. And the biggest question, I have to draw it back to the agreement that was just signed by the DP president, Norbert Mao, and then Mr. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Like looking at all, right from the FRONASA teaming up with the Chikosi Malum, that led to the creation of the Uganda National Liberation Front. What did it yield? Mr. Museveni was part of that agreement. And then we had the Yusuf Lule working with Popular Resistance Army, which was again headed by Mr. Museveni. But these two, they did not have anything in common. They did not have any sort of a common agenda for this country. Well, I have been joined by Dr. You have so many titles. Dr. Honorable, is it Honorable First or Dr. First? Whichever. Well, Dr. Honorable Bayigga, Lulume Bayigga, Member of Parliament, Buikwe South. We thank you for joining us this evening. And I think you should say hi to the viewers, and then we get straight to the topic of discussion.
Good evening, viewers. It is nice to be with this audience and to be within these beautiful studios.
Thank you.
Thank you and the management for inviting me.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to be here with you. Digitalk.
Thank you so much.
Hotline.
The hotline, yes. Yes, the hotline. Well, Doctor, we really thank you for sparing time out of your busy schedules to be part of this. We want to dive into the effectiveness of political corporations in this country. Right from the 1960s, we've had these coalitions taking place. It's sometimes the way we name them differs, but if you read the contents in these agreements for those who are able to have the agreement signed, other than having verbal agreements, when you look at the contents, it's the same thing: coalitions, corporations, Now, the biggest question is, are they effective? Looking at the political settings of this country. Recently, your party president not even the party president, the Democratic Party, the party you subscribe to, it went into a cooperation within our national resistance movement. What should we expect as Ugandans, and how effective is this in regards to our political landscape?
Nothing much. There is nothing really. What obtains in the Mao-Museveni agreement, which you want your viewers to believe is a deep NRM agreement, as if you don't know that an agreement of institutions must have a framework under which it has been undertaken. In as far as one is achieving their objectives, you can talk about a semblance of working. I want to contextualize your need for my input in respect of the democratic part. Before I go into the individuals who do these kind of agreements, because that one also matters.
Yep.
Or organizations for that matter, their aspirations and whatever they are looking for. In this one, there was no agreement of parties, because these were individuals and each of them needed something from the other. The president needed somebody from the north for two reasons: because he needed to replace, to get more energy in terms of electoral advantage from somebody from the north, when he saw that the late speaker was weak. He had known that the speaker had the problem. Therefore, he had to look for somebody who could replace, and they have been working together for some time. So, upon the demise of the late Speaker of Parliament, the president was made even weaker when the father of the late Olanya pronounced that his son had been poisoned with sophisticated kind of poisoning. So the president was weak.
Okay.
He was made weak. His position in the north was vitiated. And therefore, he had now to rekindle his asking of Norbert Mao to join him in government.
And Norbert Mao was the best person for that role?
Yes, for two reasons. One, to enable him to get somebody who can really commandeer the north. That is what he thinks. Secondly, to weaken the Democratic Party. Because here in the political terrain, all political parties have always wanted to parasite on the Democratic Party, or even to kill it altogether. So they had tormented the Democratic Party for the last 35 years, and the Democratic Party refused to die. It evaded all kinds of intimidation. It evaded all kinds of sweet talks. It evaded bribery and so on. And that we are still here.
Why would a party president go into such an agreement which is intended to weaken his party?
I was on one side. So the President Museveni achieves two objectives. One, to get a northerner who has some semblance of power in the north, and they can speak to the rest so that they can toe the line of a life presidency. Secondly, he gets a shot now to kill DP, because previously they had made Buganda a bogey of the Democratic Party. This is a tribal party, this is a tribal party, you know, it's a religious party and so on. When Mao ascended onto the presidency, they had nothing now to talk about DP. The media usually wanted to talk about quarrels. We even diffused those. So everybody was now able to judge the person of the the person of Mr. Mao as president of DP on his merit. But that was very painful to NRM, which saw that previously decampaigned party on the basis of the previous presidents being from Buganda now has strides in the north, and we are seeing dividends. So he can now nip it so that that movement towards the north is also nipped in the bud. So he achieves two. Then our Mr. Mao, former president of the Democratic Party, who has crossed. You see, you cannot eat your cake and have it. I don't know why the members of the Fourth Estate, because it begins with you.
So we have imposed Mao on you.
Yes, you either inform people or you misinform, depending on your state of mind. When you eat your cake, you can't have it. When I cross from DP to NUP, even the green tie may start to phase out, unless I am going to visit a DP member and I want to please him. So even Mr. Mao, he can continue to please himself, calling himself a DP president while serving in the NRM government, where he's taking oath, where he has taken the oath of minister and oath of allegiance. The two cannot, this is an opposition party. You cross the line and you must put on a yellow tie. It's okay. We have been fighting for human rights, and we have never quarreled about people crossing. We wish them well as long as they respect the system which nurtures them. Because we have ever had people like Robert Ketariko. His matter was discussed in the National Executive Committee, and he was allowed to serve in the Electoral Commission. We had the late Justice Mlenga. His matter was discussed in the National Executive Committee, and he was allowed to go to serve as Justice of the Supreme Court. So, no, let me complete this. Therefore, what I am saying, for Mr. Mao, who needed a job very badly, he needed a job very badly, and therefore the president dangled a carrot, and he got him. It's okay. He needed a job. Really, he needed a job. He needed to earn an income. And also, of course, even not to disturb State House or from time to time. We have been hearing about this. And because we are members of the party, you try to shield your president so that the whole organization.
I know he has come up openly.
Yeah, when he comes out openly, we
should know him.
We get relieved. And because we have personal attachment. He's a friend. But we are saying, you go with your shoes and clothes, but don't go with the house. Wajja bubagoze n'akaveera ate togenda naki uli tutya loole. No.
But Doctor,
leave the party as is, proceed. Now, is their cooperation going to work? Yes, because it is based on individual objectives. One objective, to get a job and get some, to deliver, to see what his God-given potential can deliver. And it couldn't be delivered when he's DP president, an opposition party with 9 members of parliament. He had lost hope. Yes. And for us, this is a marathon. Politics is a marathon. This is not a 100-meter dash. Yeah? So the other one also achieved his objective of nipping the Democratic Party, because there are very many northerners, even in FDC, but he's chosen DP in order to nip it. Secondly, also, to get somebody who can be substantive to talk to the northerners, has been previously on opposition. There is growing opposition everywhere. Then he can now kill the growing enthusiasm to have change in Uganda.
Doctor, one would ask, why would Mr. President be interested in Norbert Mao? Just like you've said, there are so many northerners in different political groupings. Why specifically? Why would he be so much interested in Norbert Mao?
Yes, I have said it. First of all, Norbert Mao is not a bad person per se. Yes. Who would not want Norbert Mao to be part of them? On the face of it. Behind the curtain operations notwithstanding. On the face of it, you look you're a handsome man, you speak well, you look kind. But who knows, you could have been a rapist. You could be people who poison others. I don't know. So unless you delve in the depth, on the face of it, he's a nice fellow. He speaks well. If at all you followed up when Olanya died, he spoke very well and command. You would see that people were moved. Yet he was a party president of an opposition political party. So if at all you are a cunning president, say, I think this fellow, let me entice him. If at all he can leave the party, that will be very good. The party will also maybe crumble or be deposited into an anonymous. But it's not easy though. Then, if at all you get him to your side, maybe you can get a following. So, purely that.
Doctor, when you talk about Mr. Museveni achieving, you've mentioned 2 things. One, he's achieved the supremacy of, he wants to ride on Mao's popularity in the northern Uganda to regain, his political capital there. And then you also talk about weakening the Democratic Party. Is Democratic Party that a very big threat to Mr. Museveni, party with 9 members of parliament?
Yes, by the way. If at all a president of a country with over 300 members of parliament, an absolute majority, can append his signature to take over 9 members of parliament so that they can vote with them, what do you think? He wants to kill the party completely. Do you know what it means for 1 member of parliament in DP to cross? Do you know the following that we have? Not only in our constituencies. He's cunning. He knows what he's doing. It is only a fool who doesn't know the power of the Democratic Party in Uganda. Every other political party is trying to parasite on the Democratic Party. Mention where you don't find the DP seeds. Even in the UPDF, even in ISO, you find the DP seeds. So it is a matter of time for those skeptics, the doubting Thomases. It is a question of people being patient, and we are patient. But as I told you, politics is a marathon. It's not 100 meters. Umuntu aduka 100 meters, if at all you're running a marathon, then you run 100 meters, then you find the a carditis, pain in, we call it angina pectoris. I'm a medical doctor. Then you find somebody, he cannot breathe. In Uganda, we call it akabengo kabasimba. You run 100 meters where you're supposed to run in a marathon. We find you on the way. So those ones who will be interested to leave the race early, they run very quickly, yet it is a marathon, because they would want to enjoy the services of an ambulance, which is rescuing some of the fallen people who have failed to make it. So, and it is okay. For me, it is okay. Somebody can fail to make it. It's okay. Get a ride, and we shall meet there. Then you have a conversation to talk.
Doctor, at one point you had interests in leading the mighty Democratic Party.
Yes.
Are those interests still alive?
Yes, they are alive, no doubt. They are alive.
And this is a good.
I'm a leader in the Democratic Party. I've been chairman. I have been Secretary General of the party. I have participated in manifesto, writing manifestos of the Democratic Party. I have been leading in various ways. So, and I have been patient so that we can have one leader at a time. And Mao cannot complain that we didn't.
So you've been in the queue waiting to see what
we have given him space at a time, but he is trying to go in a very awkward manner. But it's okay. Those who are remaining behind, we should put our acts together and we proceed. We shall collect our bonds where they have fallen. We are humble people, but terribly focused. Those who lose focus, it's okay. This is human, you know.
The Democratic Party has some sort of values and principles. When you become party president, are you really willing to go by those values, the legacy that was left by the other presidents and leaders of the Democratic Party?
Well, I'm just happy that so far so good. I'm just happy that so far so good. Who knew? Very many people, we have even had people, some of you who are they're saved people, they even tell a lot of things, and we all, but you find that they find themselves in trouble. I remember a certain man, he was a pastor in the Pentecostal, James Swaggart. It was about, things were about sex. Others, you see the weakness of mankind, they come. But what I can say is that judge me on what I have been, and that one can be something that can give you a perspective of what kind of leadership that can be trusted, not only by our party, but also by the people of Uganda.
Doctor, Democratic Party is one party that has had its cream leading it, right from its inception, Benedicto Chiwanka, that gentleman, that man from Western Uganda, from Bushenyi, Chiza something, I'm forgetting the other name. We've had Paul Semogerere, Norbert Mao. All these leaders have worked with the governments that were in place.
Yes.
And isn't Mao trying to follow, what his predecessors did?
No.
And we should expect the same if Dr. Bayigga becomes DP president.
It will depend. There are certain things which are constitutional. Certain people are trying to help themselves with obvious history. That Beni Chiwanuka worked with Idi Amin, yet he was a party president. Come on. Were there political parties under Idi Amin? Political parties had been banned completely. So you had some fellow who came onto the scene and decisions were taken. And they worked with him. And he was working not as a party president, he was working as Beni Chiwanuka, a guru at law. Somebody who pursued justice up to the point of his death. Who else could have done that? So you cannot say that because Ben Chiwanuka worked with Amin, therefore, and he was a party president, therefore it follows. There were no parties. Look, when Museveni came, who was he? There was no, the standing order number 1, I think it was a decree.
No political parties.
Yes, they abolished political parties. So there was a semblance of collection of actors in the politics of the country. And those actors, the most important actors, were members of the Democratic Party. They said, let us serve, since it is even an interim. And under that kind of arrangement, a constitution was written, and political parties were re-established. So, and there are measures under which political parties can work together. Mergers and coalitions. Coalitions are recognized in the Constitution under Article 83H. You can see how coalitions can come. And there is a whole set of institutional framework how a coalition government can be formed. Do you have a coalition government in Uganda? So between Mao and Museveni's cooperation agreement, is it a coalition? So there is nothing. Is it a coalition? Is that the way they form coalitions? So what is this cooperation? Under what section in the Constitution are they spelling it out? When it comes to the Political Parties and Organizations Act, you are talking about mergers and coalition. You're not talking about corporations. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, but you find that the content in all these documents it's just how they phrase it.
I don't care.
How they name it.
I don't care.
It's the only difference.
You see,
but anything, the content is almost the same.
Anything that you want to purport to be legal must comply with the institutional framework, the law and the Constitution. And the Constitution is the supreme law. By the way, first of all, I congratulate you for hosting Professor George Kanyihamba.
Thank you.
And I popularized that so much on many of my spaces.
Thank you.
And I was delighted that you invited me. I wouldn't miss.
And this is the second time. The first time we invited you, you failed to make it.
I failed to make it.
Yes, you had a barrier, I think, in...
That's right.
Yeah.
I usually respect very intelligent shows such as that one. And your choice for the personalities too. So I wanted to be associated.
Thank you.
And these beautiful studios really are very attractive.
Thank you.
You're going to make it. Your future is very bright.
Thank you.
So Kanyihamba was a spot on. Who really, I'm not a lawyer, by the way. I'm a medical doctor, I'm a surgeon, I'm a policy analyst. But when Professor George Kanyihamba comes and says, really, what else do you have to argue? Actually, I didn't know that George Kanyihamba had not read anywhere, but he had everything here. So I interested myself to develop an opinion of what exactly took place. So I went into the Constitution and I found those provisions. When PPOA, I found those provisions. I said, what about the party's constitution? What does it say? As long as a position you're holding is going to jeopardize the running of the party, you exclude yourself.
That's according to the DP Constitution?
Yes. These people were lawyers. They are very, 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 very brilliant people. So you cannot hold out. You see, when you...
Does this coalition jeopardize Mao's position as a DP president?
You can't. I mean, you have eaten your cake. Can you have it? You have crossed the line. You have crossed the Red Sea. You remain in Egypt. We shall go to the promised land. Okay? He has a god now. He's worshipping a god. You know, when people were moving, the Jews were moving from Egypt to the promised land. They reached somewhere in the wilderness. Said, okay, we crossed the Red Sea. But where is God? We want to interface with God face to face. Now, the doubting Thomases started now making for themselves a Abdallah. They made for them a Bayigga, an elephant. And those were... So he has made for himself a God. Proceed. Then God said, those who will persevere till the end will be saved. And they proceeded. So we are filled with the word of God. We are filled with our enthusiasm and hope that things will be better. Those who have lost hope they will perish. Those who will persevere till the end will save this country. That's what you think.
Honorable, when you look at the so-called cooperation, the cooperation that was written, signed between, of course, you don't want you don't want me to say between DP and the NRM, but that is how it was framed. It's actually called. It was named I have it here, cooperation agreement between the Democratic Party and the National Resistance Movement. But it has some of the good provisions. If you read them, one, they look, let me read one for you here. The parties confirm their commitment to a strong, cohesive, united and inclusive Uganda. I think we'll like that. The parties reaffirm their belief that these values are necessary prerequisites for social, political and economic success and stability of the country. We all have that. Parties consider fundamental aspect of this agreement to be their commitment to the established, okay, that is theirs now. Let me look at the objectives of the agreement. To consolidate and strengthen existing constructive and enduring working relationship.
Such as what? We have iPod.
Between parties in the areas of political dialogue, justice, rule of law and constitutionalism.
Come on. Do you know the inter-party
iPod?
Inter-party organization for dialogue.
Yes.
Do you know what it is? Go and read. That is a very big framework. It is even sponsored. And our parties have been cooperating, having those kind of conversations. Why don't you strengthen that? It is because the talks hinged so much on the existing government as a dictatorship, and it needed to adjust. Those conversations were no longer making sense. So even if you talk, the man doesn't listen. So for him, he thinks by becoming a minister, he's going now to raise dust. I laugh at him. And he knows that he can't do anything. He has gotten a job. By the way, why I disregard all that as nonsense is because I know how this came. I spoke to him myself.
And you were consulted?
Who?
You as a member.
He consulted nobody and is boasting about it. That he was so very...
He consulted all members of parliament.
He can cling on anybody. He can cling on anybody. If at all a person knows, I've been in the Secretary General of the party, I've been in party politics for a long time. I know how decisions are made. He knows how decisions are made. And he knows how difficult it would have been to ensure that that kind of joke can even meet a debate in the National Executive Committee if one happened. He knows that the National Council, which is the parliament of the party, he would not even have wished to say anything about it. But I cannot say that in one, because I have been seeing some video clips, that I will never join government. I will never join a sitting government and leave my party behind.
And he went with it.
So, well, for people who don't have suspicion and depth, it could pass. Because you would think that he will never leave our party. That is to the common person when you are speaking English, especially those who have no depth. But after that, he said, this man said he can never join a government and leave his party behind. So he's going with it. In Uganda, we say, Kabogeza Jaluvanyuma. Some people, in some of the audiences where he held those kind of, I saw that kind of a thing. So he was quite tactical, not to engage the organs of the party which take decisions. Very tactical. And he was also tactical not to engage the National Council. Certainly the National Delegates Conference would take a decision on how such an agreement, how these parties can either make a coalition or a merger. Not an individual, certainly.
Honorable, I am reliably informed that this kind of agreement has created more divisions within the DP and the actual factions now. there is a faction that believes what Honorable Mao did was, for the good of the party and the country, and then a group that also reasons like you that this was a personal,
undertaking.
Yes, a personal undertaking for their personal interests. Why do we still have? Because if you say this was for his personal interest, personal benefits, but we are seeing DP members who are pro this kind of.
Yes, this is politics. Actually, if at all Mao found me flat-footed, and I had lost hope like he did, he would easily take me. That they are offering this. Can we work with them? That is the way he's talking to people. All National Executive Committee members were scandalized that a party president and a secretary general could be seen signing some kind of documents. None of them knew about it. None. With me, I was with my colleagues in Parliament. We saw on social media. You see, when business is proceeding, you can look at a few things.
The Secretary General is a member of the NEC. He was there. There was.
How many people are in NEC? NEC is not composed of 2 people, sir. So we saw. I said, no. Before I say anything, let me consult the president. What is taking place? Then he came from where it came from a telephone call of the president of Uganda, which excited him. So he wanted to see how he can go out of the party as a party president and then joins NRM. It is also shameful, by the way. So he tried to forge some kind of a framework under which he enters the NRM so that he can find kind of semblance of respect that the party has moved with the president. But he didn't have time because I think he had been contacted much earlier and he didn't know how to approach the members of the Democratic Party to consult them about whether or not him as party president can go. We can give him leave and he goes and serves. So he didn't know. Mubuntu. So he felt that maybe if at all I convince him so that we go as a party. So he started now fidgeting with the papers. He gave them to the president. The president didn't even look at them. And he lost sight of that kind of conversation. So recently, when he wanted now to appoint a chief whip, you remember Ibrahim Nganda talked about it in Parliament. Okay? And it was so glaring that a ruling party doesn't even have a party whip. He listens. Then, Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. This is a place which has never been occupied. So he reminded him recently. He said, I'm appointing my chief whip, but I also wanted to appoint this. Are you still interested? Now this, I sent my document there. Oh, you come. So the president, I don't know if I thought the president knew what is happening on the signature. Signs. Conscripting everybody into whatever he thought. So I have that background from the horse's mouth. Do you understand? Yeah. So this doesn't matter. What matters is the spirit. The spirit was, I want to give you a job, man. You were languishing there. Sometimes you come to State House, you ask for favors, you ask for some money, but I'm giving you a job so that you can earn.
And don't come to me every time.
You don't come to me every time. This is how the story begins.
But is he fit for that position? Would you really?
I mean, he's a lawyer. He's not a stupid man. He's an intelligent man. If at all he managed to keep this away from us, and he tries to conscript us, is cunning, is sly, is shrewd.
Well, thank you so much.
And you see, some people may call us stupid, but certain shrewd people, they know how to manipulate situations, and they manipulate even the head of state. Mr. Museveni was manipulated because of his other desires. He didn't care what is in the document.
Honorable, where does this leave the entire opposition? What does it signal?
That members within the opposition, especially for us who have had the courage to accept poverty and to oppose a bad government as a way of life. For me, it is a way of life. I was in a sabbatical holiday for 5 years. Didn't I continue?
And is that much?
Huh?
Only 5 years? Is
5 years, yes. And I was there. Some people, even one day, without being a member of parliament, you will see them collapsing. Many of them. So others, you see them queuing. They go to make an appointment to see if at all the president can give some upkeep. We are different people. But that is the way it is. We should accept people as they are, not as what we want them to be. Yes.
Are the voters, the population, the citizens...
Now, your question was, what does it live? Where does it live? Yes. Members of the opposition, members who think that we can make this country better when we take over, know that we are in a marathon. And when people get pain in the precodium, don't really laugh at them. You pity them. They have gone. Maybe one time you can come back. Those people who are in government, who were once Democrats, for instance, those are the people.
President.
Those are the people who come again and whisper to us, don't do this. Do it this way. There is a document this way. You people don't allow it, and so on. There are very many advantages of such people who have gotten weak. So it depends on the way you look at it. So the opposition, the strength of the opposition must be, we shouldn't be lazy. We should start to gear up. We should be working together and have common platform. Otherwise, if at all we continue dividing ourselves along small, flimsy luxuries of who should be president when we take over, yet we are lining up, some of us are lining up for favors here and there and leaking our information. It is not going to work that way. We need to stand on our principles, because when you fail, very many people who have been following you, your constituency, they get disorganized, they get disoriented, and it can take us some time to bring back to course. So that is where the pain is. But as far as whether or not what we believe in is overarching, that is beyond, this is something I can't doubt. Why we have existed the way we are, and why we are telling ourselves and telling Ugandans that this government is a failure, is overarching. Even those who are in government know that coming to 40 years, we have got a failure.
Doctor, you see, when you speak, you remind me of the good words that were coming up from your president, Norbert Mao. And are we yet to see more people with precodium?
The angina pectoris. We call it angina pectoris. Yes, there are very many. But even in the NRM, Akabengo Kabasimba, they come back this way. Where do you think we get information? Kabengo, it's the pain they can't sustain. Say we are being duped. Many people, there are corruption scandals. How do you think they get exposed? People are tired, but they don't know how to break those chains. Bondage. They don't know. And it is only that time when people start to know that there are overarching objectives we must stick to, and we give ourselves timelines, and we do what it takes. It is possible to overturn this government once and for all. And then we establish a new dispensation that is going to help our country to a new trajectory.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Lulume Bayigga, Member of Parliament, Buikwe South. Well, this is the Hotline Show, and I'd like to go for a very short commercial break. And then when we return, we'll be continuing with the discussion. And of course, when we return, we'll be looking at the how best can the opposition work together? Today it has been exciting. We've seen them quite, in a long time. We have not been able to see this, what has happened today at Hotel Africana. And maybe this brings some hope, especially those who would wish to see that the opposition, different political formations work together to see how they can maybe uproot the system, much as the other group is also working day and night to see how much they can keep themselves in power. Well, we are going for a very short break and we will be returning shortly.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Digitalk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
We President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyannema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative Digitalk etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugendo maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop, and smart TVs. As we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Digitalk. How are you beautiful Ugandans? It's your girl Digitalk. Welcome to the fancy floor. Who doesn't see my hair, guys? I am super glamorous. Remember, this is the only show where we're going to be talking about fashion.
Please, where are you think? Teaching.
What has been confusing you about fashion? Sorry, you said I should not smile. For all the information about fashion, maintenance of body shape.
I can wear bling bling when I'm going out. So you can wear bling bling going out or any occasion.
We shall be doing all this in the fancy floor. Remember, it airs every Thursday right from 8:30 to 9 with your girl Teddy Tenjo. It is the fancy floor.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Well, thank you. Welcome back from that short break. And then we have to continue with our discussion. My name is Abdallah Tiff once again. Before we went for the break, Honorable was talking about, was telling us how much we can, how the opposition, we're looking at actually how the opposition can work together to see that maybe they uproot the regime they're trying to fight. And the regime is also working so much to see that it disorganizes this group. Because even if it was the Democratic Party today, which would be in power, they would actually do the same, like what the NRM government is doing to keep themselves in power. Now, my biggest question, Honorable, is if you look at all political groupings, almost each party has a faction. And these factions have not started today. If I take you back, let me start with the FDC. At one time we had FDC Katonga, we had the FDC Najana Nkumbi. Democratic Party, we had the DP Subi, we had the DP TJ, and then even the SDP, they were splits from, SDP, PDP, these were splits from the DP. Then NUP, right now we have NUP Kamocha, NUP Kabowa, then UPC,
I didn't know the Kabowa.
Yes, we have the Kabowa group led by Chibarama, Nkonge Chibarama.
Oh, okay.
When you go to UPC, and UPC it started way back, we had the Ginger, the Ajaike group, and then we also had the Nkomba, which was headed by the Rwanyarare, Wakasisi and Rurangaranga. And even now, those they have continued up to date. We have the UPC Akena and then UPC Peter Warubidi. Then when you go to the NRM, it also has the rebel NRM. Then when you go to CP, at one time we had Ken Chams and then Waliemera. So there is this happening. What is really behind this? What is it the basis of the formation of these groupings that they lack ideological direction? What is the problem here?
Yeah, I think the last alternative is true. It is ideological disorientation. Yes. Somebody used it to talk about ideological obscurantism. When what you believe in is obscure, somebody cannot make it out very well. And then the leaders fail to articulate what their parties stand for. And these are things which you must remind the membership from time to time. We had a lot of debate in the Democratic Party of where we belonged, whether we are center-right party or center-left party.
And very few people understand that.
And even when you take it to Parliament, you can find very few people to understand it. Not even President Museveni understood it, but he confused himself. He's a communist. That is why you can see his linkage with China and Russia. Yes. It is not just because of it, because he believes in their ideology, leftist of the kind, and all their economic policies. Okay? That is what he believes in. The Democratic Party, to the contrary, is a rightist party. It's a center-right.
Center-right, yes.
It's a center-right party. UPC was a center-left party. But even when you delve into the depth of understanding why we believe like the way we believe, it is not something that many leaders will be able to sensibly articulate. In DP, for instance, it caused a lot of discussion, and we were the first party to start to know where we belonged. So when Mao's leadership came in, he previously believed that he was a socialist. Then when he came into the party, he discovered that we are a conservative, under the conservative arrangement, and he delved into why we believe so, and how the conservatism has been a very important pillar in economic development and general development of countries, not leaving other people, those people who don't have behind, and the various shades of the right-wing politics. So he accepted to lead the party under those kind of arrangements. Other people who believed that they were social democrats, that is how you'll find the Social Democratic Party, SDP, and so on and so forth. But the gist of the matter here is somebody should be able to know the overarching pillars for which they exist, and they must be communicated from time to time. Those who feel that they cannot be part of you will always find other parties who believe the way they believe.
But that is very rare to find amongst our political supporters.
Yeah, but the supporters will support, will come to support.
Actually, members of the
No, and let me tell you, it doesn't follow that the supporters will always be ideologically oriented. No, for them they will accept a package
Of the message you choose to give
of the
them.
message you choose to give them. What do these people think about these taxes? Do they think that we should heap taxes on a few individuals, or everybody should get a fair share of their taxes? And we cut them, okay? When we are talking about taxation. What do these people think about desert? People who deserve and people who don't deserve. What do these people think about work?
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
I'm valuable enough. They will give me money to complete my car building. Then I can have my retirement package. So those things come in. But the way they come in is so political that people don't want you to believe that what has taken them is his personal interest. You understand? So they make it political. So that you delve into debates. Yet
something small.
it is something small, an interest. For instance, Mao needed a job. Who doesn't know that Mao needed a job? You know, Museveni has been using poverty as a tool. Make them poor. They will come crawling on their knees with confessions in their teeth. That is him. You have a business, he has a business, yes. Get around it. See how you can cripple it. Does he have some interest? Health? Yeah. We shall see, okay. Prerogative of master. You take him to US, maybe. You take him to Kenya. Then you are saved. Personal interest. Then it becomes something. So, the poverty tool is what President Museveni has used to cripple all right-thinking people. You see them reasoning like... by the way, villagers are not stupid people. They're very intelligent. They reason like... I don't know. You know better English. Me, I'm a medical person. You see very intelligent people behaving very abnormally. Why? Because chakula was to eat. Okay, you Lulume, you are fighting for what is right. You are right. But that does not put food on my table, and my children need to eat. And Museveni has mastered that.
And he has excelled.
For your information, maybe you have gone through this as Digitalk
TV.
The first phase of President Museveni's influence was persuasion. The 10 points program was a powerful tool, no doubt. For us who didn't know any document of government to read from, you get a 10-point program and say, this is what they stand for. You say, proceed. Those people who felt that their communist ideas in this were watched as they saw masses going with the 10 points program. And President Museveni had a lot of time to explain to those people who doubted him.
As the opposition, have you...
Wait a minute, I give you the second one. The second was intimidation and coercion. The army, ISO, came in to coerce those people who didn't want to believe the president. No party politics, no rallies, no nothing. Even communicating what you have the right to communicate. Freedom. Fundamental freedom. No. Rights were trampled on. And it is still continuing. Now he has twinned it with the third wave, the poverty tool. Make the people as poor as possible. Let them crawl on their bellies seeking for what to eat, to get money to go for hospitalization, to get money to take their children to school, and so on and so forth. And it is working terribly. He is not afraid to ask Parliament to grant him to have a lot of money, billions or trillions, handouts, when people are dying in Karamoja. I have seen cars, you see people in ties like me and you, with the jerrycan going for 5 liters of fuel. In motor cases, say, people cannot feed themselves. Look at the budget they have put for emergency situations, that the one which occurred in the Elgon area. The priority is not about that. The priority is about how to maintain oneself as the biggest influencer in politics by buying off brains that would oppose a situation. Money, and it has worked. The moment people realize that we live for something, especially you guys in opposition, if you don't realize that we live for something, and that is our legacy, no matter whether we are poor, but as long as your effort counts for posterity, you have made a very big construction on Uganda. It doesn't matter. Because it doesn't make sense for us to go where they eat and leave our people, posterity, to judge us very harshly. That we could have done something better. I've just been in Nairobi recently. They are struggling to join the middle income. Very wealthy country.
And for you already graduated.
Oh, Uganda is a country where a president can come and lie as if we don't see. I've just been there. I was not alone. With members of the NRM government. I said, have you heard from them? They have said they are struggling that, so that by 2030, they join the middle income. But the president here told us that we're
already there.
We're already there.
he even summoned the meeting to have a discussion and negotiate.
The biggest problem that if at all I died today, I would be a frustrated man, that Ugandans are not scandalized by blatant lies. It's a scandal. You say that Uganda has joined a middle income, yet Kenya, which is time was, I think, 10, our economy, they are struggling to join the middle income. In 2030, that's what they're working for. You don't need to go far.
Well, thank you so much, Honorable. I want to thank our viewers, all those online watching us from wherever you are. I really thank you. The few comments, I think I'll be reading through some of them, not all of them. Namirembe Angela, we thank you for being part of this show. And I think I should read a few comments. Patrick Insubuga says Mao must go as an individual, not to decide for us, like for them. Then Namirembe says he went for Cheyo.
Yeah, the Cheyo man.
Then Namirembe again, if you come to a house with a polythene bag, don't bring a lorry as you are leaving. Let Mao go with his shoes and clothes, not the whole house. Mao has worked hard to weaken the party. He has made sure the party doesn't field any candidates in by-elections. I don't know whether that was Mao's decision. I don't know if he also intends to tell DP members to support NRM candidates since he signed a cooperation agreement with Museveni. Actually, if Mao insists on being DP president, does it mean he will propose from State House and oppose from DP headquarters? With the party members, the Bible in Revelation condemns lukewarmness. The Constitution is the supreme law. Any law formed against it or that is not in line with it is considered to be null and void. Mao must leave DP. Those who will persevere till the end, I think here someone is quoting what you said. Beni Mpanga Nzekwendi Nyonyo, Farish Magembe, thank you for being part of the show. Then Ben Impanga, corner, doctor. People are cheering you up, doctor. Then Tumusime, the doubting Thomas. You mentioned about Thomas when they were coming from Egypt and crossing the Red Sea. I think Tumusime Kato was referring to that. But Honorable Norbert is on Cheyo in Professor Kanyahamba's voice. Okay. Fortunate Yampire watching from Greater Masaka, Luengo. And Kamiaka Sozi, thanks. Lulume, next DP President General, that is Mukunja Robert. Lutaya Bucham, nice to meet my MP here. And then Habibu Said Amon, Mr. Okay. Wonderful submissions, Your Excellency. Mao's group, Iriwa, please. Okay, we're on straight from Ngogwe, Buikwe.
Wow.
So people have data in Ngogwe. They're watching us. Well, I want to also open our lines for those who are watching us. You can just give us your calls. We would love to hear from you. Our lines are open, and we have 0789 017 and 145. You can also call us on 0759 132 310. 0789 for those using MTN, 0789 017 145, and then 075 132 310. Well, Honorable, my biggest worry is, you looking at your submission, it's like you've understood who Mr. Museveni is. Unfortunately, the entire opposition seemed to undermine that. This man is strong, Mr. Museveni. But as different opposition political groupings, you seem to have underestimated this gentleman for all along. You can even go to some sort of the slogans you politicians give us. Masaka mumulinde mujja kumulabanga agenda bamulaba agenda Rwakitula just to visit and come back to Kampala. Mubikwase Kyagulanyi, entebe mu ntebe, you've made it sound so cheap, so easy. To the point that you even tell voters, genda olonde and the rest leave it to me. And I really doubt whether you can handle this without the citizens. I really don't know if you have plans to have a honest discourse as opposition politicians, to make a genuine analysis about this man you're fighting. Do you really have such plans?
I have never had somebody who asks very intelligent questions like you are doing. Where have you been all this time? I organized my father's funeral, and many politicians came, and that is what exactly I told them. That you have been deceiving yourselves and deceiving us too, deceiving these people. There were thousands of people who came. Tell me, do you see these people? Put everybody in a tent. These are the people confusing themselves, are even confusing you. Tell them now to discuss in depth how they can make Uganda a better place, so that they don't come and lie to us again that is going, it is not going. And then they themselves know that they have no plans to make the man get off the chair. We have not, really. Many times we have been waiting for an election year to organize. Many times we have been very lazy. Very lazy.
To organize?
Yes, to organize the masses, to explain to them. And then there is now a new generation of showbiz politics. Before you have organized, you have already shown people that you are going to organize. What do you expect them to do? Before you have gone to attend the rally, you are already on media telling people that we are going to attend that rally. And then what do you expect these guys to do? Organize. And Mr. Museveni is not as lazy as people think.
I have a phone call. Cora, hello. Someone on the line. Hello? Someone on the line?
Lulume. My question is,
yes.
for all along we've been fighting for oppositional unity, and today we've seen a sign of unity between different political opposition and political players, but we didn't see Honorable Lulume Bayigga. Should we say that for him is not part of opposition, or is not ready for the unity that Ghanaians have been yearning for? Thank you very much.
On that, we didn't get your name and where you're calling from. It's better when you give us a call. Kindly tell us where you're calling from and
yes, James from
then your name.
Bayogere.
Someone on the line, hello?
James from Bayogere.
Yes, James. Yes, James, we can hear you. Well, we've lost James from Bayogere. Oh, it was the same caller, the previous caller. Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, that was an important question.
Yes.
Yeah, people organized this kind of concern. They wrote to whoever, to whom it may concern. They didn't invite us. No, it was not to Chirochi to Alumnaku, because the party leaders and the stakeholders were there, opposition stakeholders, who are concerned about the vulgarization of the electoral process. In Brazil, you know, the law, the electoral commission is there, the police is there, the people who are pushing in, I mean, they are staffing, ballot staffing, violence, and so on. Really, it is a very big concern. But why do you organize that kind of document which you are sending to these offices and you neglect some of us? You should have invited us. But because it is now giving an impression that you guys, ADP is already in the NRM bed, which is not true. The point is, those who understand that there is no coalition with the NRM, and there is nothing called cooperation, as Professor Kanye Hambad told you here. Even the Constitution, you can go and read about it. And you don't have a cooperation, even in the Political Parties and Organizations Act. Why should those people who are party leaders and stakeholders, why would they think that they should not invite DP because of that stupid cooperation agreement? That was the what do you call it in English? Hypocrisy. That is being hypocritical. Invite the members of the Democratic Party. Yes. Where is the concern? It's only one member who has crossed to NRM so far. Those who are trying to follow him, they are trying to find their own levels. If at all, they will be given jobs.
But Mao has not crossed, Doctor. Mao is just working with the regime. Yes. Even insists he has never been issued with a membership card from the NRM. And he says he's still the party president of the Democrats.
You see, you don't need even to get a party card. NRM, how many people have given you their party cards? That I belong to the NRM. Actually, it is only DP where somebody can have a party card. But as long as you have crossed the line, it is inevitable. You can hold out as a DP member. Because, by the way, it is very sweet to be DP, and it is something painful to lose the membership of the Democratic Party. I'm telling you. Some of you who have not joined the Democratic Party, and you would fear to lose the membership of the Democratic Party. But he lost it.
President Museveni has always told us there is no DP without him.
Yeah, he intimidates those who don't know him. He's a chameleon. He said he's a chameleon. He has been changing colors to suit wherever he's going. but he was not a DP member. I asked John Kawanga. John Kawanga, former member of Parliament of the Masaka municipality. I said, you studied with this guy. Was it DP? He said, well, we were in student politics, and at that time, it was DP which was shining. But it was at that level. When we came back to Kampala from Dar es Salaam, they found him, he had already somersaulted into the UPC offices. Because somehow, This fellow, the former president of Tanzania, Nyerere, had intimated to Mr. Obote that there's a certain fellow here, you keep him close and watch over him. You see, he has dangerous ideas. It is said that Nyerere wanted to smuggle Museveni in the corridors of power so that he learns statecraft. That is one theory. Maybe because of ethnicity. Because Museveni grew up, I think he was much of his time in northern Tanzania, here in Karagwe. Okay? That is where he derives his Buikweziness. He knows. I hope I'm not creating you people trouble. I'm creating myself trouble. But when you are 50 and above, you can say things because can I live many years than I have lived on earth? No. I can say things. I can call shots. So somehow he smuggled him into the corridors of power. Other people say that President Museveni, Bambi, his background was such that he needed real affirmative action. So when he was offered a job in state research, he could not leave it when these John Kawangas were there, sons of rich people, you have land, you have things, you are well-to-do children. Me, I know where I came from, so let me make a living somehow. So those are the circumstances. So these people were telling us that it was not necessarily, he didn't necessarily participate in DP affairs. In fact, he read about DP and he did not believe so much in what DP believed in. He didn't believe that people should own. You see, when he grew up with the Boniface Byanyima, our former party president, party national chairman, he saw people who out of their hard work had gotten land. For him, he was wondering, why is it that certain people have land and others don't have? Especially those herdsmen, nomads, where he traces his background, who would move from one place to another. They did not own that this is my land. Then the man who nurtured him said that this fellow has a lot of land. This must change. He didn't know that out of hard work, certain people got land. He was so jealous that even here in Uganda, he finds that people had chunks of land. He thought that they got this free. But it is out of their hard work that they had been paid in form of land and not money.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, please. Your name and where you're calling from.
This is Julie from Masaba.
Sorry?
This is Julie from Masaba.
Yes.
Honorable is my area MP. Now my question is... Hello?
Your name and where you're calling from.
This is Julie from Masaba.
Yes, Julie from Masaba.
Yes, Honorable. Honorable is my area MP. Now my question is, at what point do we put our opposition side aside to fix issues that are dear to the country? Because it seems that's what Honorable Norbert Mao did according to the terms of the agreement.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you for being part of the discussion.
Yeah. You see, very many people don't even have parties, but they do everything possible to make our country a better place to live in. Us who have parties, we have a way of thinking, and we sharpen each other. And our work is to sharpen what government should do, and do it to the best of their abilities to help you who don't have parties. So when we are opposing government, we are not preventing them from doing something good for you. Actually, we are sharpening their ideas to make them work better for all of us. That is what we are doing. So when they conscript us into their fold, they are preventing us from seeing the faults that they are doing, so that the will of those ones in power can be done without challenge. And I think that is not a bad idea for us to remain the way we are, and we grow, and then we influence you to vote us. Then we make these good decisions. Then you can now remind us that you guys, you promised us this.
Where is it?
Where is it? That is the level of the conversation where it should be. The moment you see somebody who doesn't want to be opposed, he doesn't want his ideas to be challenged, that person is grooming corruption, dictatorship, authoritarianism, and these are very, very, very bad virtues.
Thank you so much. Doctor, we are living in a country where, I want to take you back to the 2021, just towards the 2021 elections. That's the time when we had so many things of the pumpkin, the watermelon, and I want to believe you were a watermelon. Because you were DP, but you appeared, or even appeared to be more of the inside of a watermelon than the outside of a watermelon. And when you look at the trajectory our politics is taking, it's kind of worrying. We're in a country where you, the politicians, you, the leaders, you've made these voters to believe that you do not have to listen to those with good ideas, but who can excite us more. There are members of parliament there. If you take one to your constituents, very few people can say, this is so-and-so. But they're in the August House. They're the people planning and thinking and legislating for this country. And that is worrying. There is a constituency that I know in Kampala here. Wrong ballot papers were taken to wrong polling stations, but people voted up to midday. Until when one of the candidates came and you're like, no, I am not on the ballot. Now the question, from 7 to midday, what were they voting? Is this the country you people want to live? No, with such a gullible society?
Yeah. The society, our society in which we live, has also gone down the hill, and it is so unfortunate, scandalously unfortunate. Of course, you remember we had civics. I don't know if at all you studied civics.
No.
You can see where you come from. They put it off the syllabus because they wanted to deny people the right to know what is happening. Okay? Then political education, is it still on the syllabus?
No, it was scrapped off.
It was scrapped off. Even some of the literature books. Yes, Animal Farm. Is it part of the syllabus again? Anything that was touching society and how society is being manipulated, they put it off the syllabus.
And political science too is no longer
and do you know
public universities.
Do you know who did that? And for what purpose? You must praise yourselves. You people who can give us free media and we talk. Can you imagine even under COVID, media was giving free airtime?
I have another call. Call on the line, hello.
Hello.
Yes, your name and where you're calling from?
Jacqueline from Makerere University.
Yes, Jacqueline.
Yes, I want to thank you, Tiff, for the show, and
thank you.
Thank Dr. Lululume for making it to your studios. Now my question goes to Doctor. According to him, DP has no party president because he's referring to Mao as a former president. So we want to know, what is their next course of action as the native members of DP? Are they planning a coup, a re-election, or they are planning to go to courts of law where he is the Minister of Justice? Thank you for the show.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline from Makerere University. She says, you refer to Mao as the former president of the party. So it means literally the party has no president at the moment. What's your next course of action?
To fill the vacant position. We are going to fill the vacant position. We shall invite the media. We are going to fill the vacant position. And we are calling upon those people on the National Executive Committee who think that they should follow the former party president, whom Professor Kanye Ihamba called Chairman Mao. He usually calls himself Chairman Mao, Chairman.
So he's now Chairman.
Our prodigal son. Those who want to follow him, let them make a decision. Don't disturb us this way. We are poor people. We are very humble. Don't intoxicate us. Please proceed. Get your jobs. I hear there are some slots for commissions. Some of them.
And the junior ministerial position.
The junior ministerial position is also there. We know we have a clue now of who is trying to think that it could be a junior minister, maybe 4 commissions. We can see the top leadership of the party. All of them now are elbowing each other on who is going to go into those. Yeah, it's okay. Please proceed.
So Mao has gone with the top leadership of the party?
Yeah.
So DP is now an orphan in the party?
Yeah, we are orphans, and you see, when your father dies, do you go with him into the grave? Those ones who want to go with him to the grave, it's okay. You go to heaven earlier than us. But for those, we want them to take a decision quickly. Let them take it. I mean, guys.
And you recollect yourself.
For those who want to go with the president, please proceed. Let us not be, even those who have not been given jobs yet, because the carrot is being dangled around. I sympathize with your appetite. Yes, for your guru, how guru you are. Please proceed, but don't be grateful that the party has made you what you are, to the extent that you can now quetega to get some favors. It's okay, you proceed. So those of us who will remain, we are going to reorganize, without doubt. For us, what we want President Museveni is the president of this country to know that he was duped. Mr. President, sir, Mr. Mao duped you that he consulted the party. He didn't consult the party organs. Whether in NRM people must, it is only you to be consulted. In DP it is different. DP consults National Executive Committee members. It consults the National Council where the parliamentary group is and district chairpersons. It consults the National Delegates Conference. These guys who want jobs, it's for us, we are giving them a go-ahead. It's okay. Give them some jobs, because in any case, Uganda is for all of us. Why should certain people eat and others don't? I have been hearing your members in NRM crying foul. Why should you be giving the opposition, which has been disturbing you for all this time, why are you giving them jobs when people are there in your party crying foul? Why you denied them ministerial positions? You denied them commissioners' jobs. You denied them RDTs. You denied them. You don't have the jobs for them, and then you have jobs for these people. So people are crying all over. So because we're all Ugandans, and there are some members of the Democratic Party who have now it's okay, take those ones. But leave the party to continue grooming leaders. Uganda cannot end with you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Honorable, I want to take you back to the issue you are talking about of civic education and having a society that critically looks at events as they do unfold in their country. A country where citizens have a stake. A country where citizens can really tell the difference between DP and the FDC. Today, if you ask a DP member, why are you not in FDC and you're in DP? Why are you in NUP and you're not in JEMA? You will be shocked by the answers they will give you.
Indeed. People should have the right even to choose, to make a choice and give ideas, what kind of education they desire.
And what are you
They should even be given chance to know what kind of policies, economic policies, they should participate in, and how they can make things better for themselves, and what kind of help government can give. They should be given that chance.
And
but
so
they are not given this chance. It's
what
a command
are you doing
economy.
about that, Honorable?
We have talked. First, and we have talked to persuade the current government that this is the way it should be. Many of the members of the NRM believe with us. They believe what we are talking about. But they have come now to terms that in NRM it is President Museveni. Without President Museveni, his experiments can go on and on and on and on until we are poor, until many people die. Then he can make a reversal after seeing a very bad experiment. So sad. That is why people have now resorted to asking God for an intervention.
To take out Mr. Museveni?
I don't know, but some kind of intervention, maybe changes for the better.
Well, this is the Hotline Show. Every Monday we are here discussing national politics, national matters. At the political parties, you know, I want to believe political parties have a role to play in one, enlightening the population, preaching what they stand for, and these should be the values that the society attaches you to, you know, they tag you onto. A DP is like this, but now we are seeing Dr. Lulume, who is a DP, but he's somehow watermelon. Is somehow.
Yes, you talked about that,
yes.
and I hadn't answered. You see, the overarching purpose of any political party is to influence society and get elected and change status quo. And that season, Ugandans were ahead of us. For them, the luxury of political parties did not matter. They instructed all political actors to unite and get rid of the junta. They are tired. Ugandans united ahead of us. And indeed, that is why many of these agreements fail. For the Ugandans, they accepted that now we have found a person who is like us. And it was Bobby Wine. They ran ahead of us in my constituency, which I won handsomely. The NRM candidate got 1/2 of the votes I had. As a DP, they supported overwhelmingly Bobby Wine because he was like them. So they had run. They didn't want to listen to Mao. No. Yet on the hard hoe, it was me. Then they go for somebody else. So the population has determined the trends ahead of the politicians.
With the exceptions of Dr. Lulume, who can sit here and articulate, there is a big number of members of parliament, leaders at different political positions, who were brought into office through that same.
They just discovered themselves.
And they are more of doing a disservice to this country.
Because now the population,
that's the last comment.
The desire of the population to change is becoming more and more overarching. It is beyond what we think. And no matter the quality, they are no longer minding about quality now. Say, whoever can come, but the regime.
Is that good for the country?
It is bad for the country. That is why I must say thank you, your innovation, to have us talk to the people in the way we talk to them, without asking us to pay for these talk shows. You are helping Uganda much more than anybody else. In parliament, I get 2 minutes, if I get any. 2 minutes. What have I spoken in 2 minutes? Now I'm speaking to members of parliament.
Why should you even continue being a member of parliament?
It sucks. Now I'm speaking to members of parliament, I'm speaking to district councils, I'm speaking to government, I'm speaking to my mother, my wife is there, she's watching, and I'm speaking to everybody. You people, you are the heroes who need medals.
I'm afraid we need to get out of here, Doctor. I need to get you very fast remarks.
Let me give my remark. We don't want to have a very big conflict with this NRM government because we have had. But we should have our space respected. And that is our asking. Mr. President, sir, your minister, who was formerly our party leader, president, whom you called chairman general, with that position we don't have, fortunately, you were very tactical. Advise him not to cling on the party. It helped him to expose himself to you. Maybe he will serve, and we are praying for him. But let us not go into conflict. It will not be healthy for your security people who would want to cause trouble. We want a clean transition from Mao to another one. Like we wish a clean transition from you to somebody else. I hear Mao is just thumping that maybe he's one of those people you are bringing in to succeed, to be your successors. It's okay. We shall be also very happy that DP produced somebody who has now come into your fold and he is going to become a president. Maybe he will be more merciful. But what we are saying is that there was due pare, that the party made a decision it was not true. We want to have a leadership that people can trust, that you can also trust.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. May God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lulume. We really thank you for creating time to be part of the discussion. We want to also thank you for the great insights you've shared with us. And then our esteemed viewers, I cannot thank you enough. The team I have worked with, I really thank you for putting up this together. My name is Abdallah Tiff. Until next month again, I want to wish you a great night.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.